Thank you for joining. So this is Thailand. I'm Valerie McKenzie. Sawadee ka.
I'm Johan Wimonchalau. Swadee krap.
And I'm Tapani Manawet. สวัสดีค่ะ
There are so many things that we would like to bring to you, but one that's really high on the agenda at the moment is all about cosmetic surgery, and I know Johan is going to cover that later. One of the areas that really fascinates me is that thousands of people, and then even from Australia, which doesn't have a large population, there are something like 40,000 people coming in for cosmetic surgery every year. I know it's a lot cheaper here, I know the quality is very good, but think of all the thousands also going to Korea and having their surgery done there. It's such a huge business, Johan.
Oh, absolutely. And you figure that with the emphasis nowadays on looks and people's self-esteem being really connected with their physical appearance, it's really been ingrained, especially in the younger generation.
And also the males, you know, I mean, the men are getting a lot more facials done.
True, and also a gender reassignment as well. And it's a huge money maker for Thailand.
It is indeed. And of course, the fitness associations are also taking advantage of that too. We'll have to see what happens with California WOW, which is now no longer, but there are FitCorp and other organisations that give you the opportunity to not only look good, but actually get into a healthy lifestyle too. So you're actually in the rollerblading, huh?
Yes, I am. Actually, if you let me go down here, I brought my gear with me. That's right. This is what we call inline skating. And when I first came here to Thailand, I thought, well, I wanted to do rollerblading, but it was quite difficult to find these. But for all those foreigners out there who are wondering, what can I do to exercise outside and have a good time? I do recommend inline skating because it's a great way to avoid some of the heat. It's not as large or cumbersome as carrying around a bicycle. And believe it or not, there are very avid clubs of roller skaters here in the city.
And you know what? Your gym won't close down on you.
Exactly.
I bought a lifetime membership for California. Wow. What to do now?
Talking about the rollerblading, what I'd like to tell you is do not go to Lumpini Park at about 5:30, 6 o'clock each day because you'll need to get out of the way of your hun. Huh?
Oh, I'm not that bad. Not yet.
So what's the talk of the town?
Well, we're going to start off with looking at the financial side, and at the second quarter of 2012, now that we've passed it, there have been some big winners and some big losers as well, and some surprise entries into the market that you may not be aware of. Looking at the plus side, though, at up 350%, that is correct, 350%, is a company called Comart PCL, who you may know of, actually was originally Die-Star TV, failed, started a car company, failed, and then thought, hey, how about cosmetics? People like to look good. Absolutely made a killing. You might know about the shops out there. They're called Carmart. It's that pink-looking cosmetic shops. Have you ever shopped there?
So the beauty buffet ones or
Very similar,
the
very
In
similar.
the malls.
beauty cottage. There are so many of them and very cute looking with colorful, pretty things inside.
Well, it seems that the third time around was the charm here.
Huge sales.
And some other gainers on the list where we have Singer Thailand, which I was very surprised to see.
Look, they've got a new MD, and I have to say he's done a fabulous job with the organisation. And I have to also say that there's such a variety you can get from Singer now, not like just the sewing machines like we did years ago. And their credit terms are really very, very impressive.
Who are some of the other big gainers?
Well, rounding out the list at the top is Big C Supercenter, which I'm not surprised since they took over
Carrefour.
So it seems, they gained all those retail outlets, expanded their base there, so it's no surprise that they've gained 55, almost 56%. On the con side, though, obviously there were some big losers out there as well, starting at the biggest loss, IT City. Now, if you keep in mind that the technology sector was very heavily impacted by the flooding last year, all those production plants, especially the hard drive factories, that not only affected the hard drives, but all the computers which use those as components. So you're talking about laptops, desktops, everything that comes after that. So no surprise, almost 44% down from the previous quarter. Other big losses on the list, well, we have Mida Assets also, and as well Loxley, again, another
IT.
IT. So rounding out the list, not too many surprises except for that one cosmetics.
Amazing, huh?
Absolutely.
And it's not per se an international brand, it's a local organisation that obviously is doing very well.
Well, it shows you there's still great opportunities here in the market, even in some industries that we would think would be saturated out there. So.
And of course, it's not only the girls that are using the makeup now, it's the guys too. So the market's going to grow even more, and the younger generation is also developing. Looks as though they're on a winner finally.
That's true. In some of the cosmetic sections, they actually have a section allocated for men now.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's going to be expanding, I think. Those metrosexuals finally coming out and getting their products. Okay, well, next we're going to move on to talking about something local to Bangkok. And this is great news for people who live on the outskirts of Bangkok, around Bang Na and Bang Na Trat area. The BMA is set to extend the BTS link from Bang Na to Suvarnabhumi, and construction will be complete, they say, by 2017. This new line is going to go from Sukhumvit onto Bang Na Trat and into Samut Prakan as well. And from a study and forums that they've conducted, they have concluded that the light rail transit, or LRT, will be the best form of communication for those parts and for the locals, and it will run 18.3 kilometers straight to Suvarnabhumi.
That's great news, and I think it's more convenient route than where we have to go at the moment to Makassar to actually pick up the fast speed train out to the airport.
Right. So the construction will begin in 2014. So get ready for some really, really bad traffic in that area.
Worst traffic.
Which will continue for 3 years, and then it will all be over.
So don't go down the patio during that 3 years.
For 3 years.
Well, it's good to see, with all these infrastructure projects slowly come together. When they all are finally said and done, there should be some very convenient ways to get around the city,
Yes.
to and from the airports, not only between here, but also, Bangkok, all points outside as well.
When they all link up, it should be good. And this is great because people who live on the outskirts of Bangkok don't have to come into the center of town in order to go out to the outside of town again. So it's very kind of clever, but coming a little late. But better late than never.
Well, moving along, Valerie did mention that there is a growing trend, among especially teenagers about cosmetic surgery. And in fact, it is a 20 billion baht industry in 2012 alone, and they expect that to increase by 20% in the upcoming years. Now, it's going to also be one of the most popular places for investors. Big business to be made here, obviously, with not only Thais trying to get cosmetic surgery, a lot of foreigners coming here as well. You mentioned Australia, a big supplier of people to get it done. There are some other, issues such as how much it does not cost a lot of money to get a lot of these things done. And you were talking about forehead lift, 60,000 baht, or roughly, if you're looking at US dollars, 2,000, I believe.
Yes.
If you look at those types of services in the US, it can run you tens of 20s of thousands, a lot.
I think the other thing we should talk about here is actually the quality. You've got to make sure that the hospitals, of course, are fine, but you've got to look at the doctors too and the clinics to make sure that they do have a reputation, a good reputation, and that you know someone who has been and has been successful. Because quite honestly, there are always in every organisation, every country, there are those that are not as good or those that are, we say in Australia, shonks, and therefore you need to protect yourself. Once it's done, it's done. You can't do anything about it in the future.
Yeah.
There's a young boy on the screen at the moment. What's the story about him, Johan?
Well, this is all going back to the kind of a disturbing trend. A lot of younger teenagers are feeling that they have to have cosmetic surgery to fit in socially. And this is really disturbing. There used to be a stigma that if I got cosmetic surgery, it's because, obviously I'm unhappy with myself, but there was that greater issue about, maybe my family's genes aren't the good-looking genes. When in fact that there are people as young as age 15, even younger than that, getting cosmetic surgery, and their parents are endorsing it, which is absolutely amazing. The young man you saw on the screen earlier, he's had 16 operations within the last 3 years alone. He's only 18 years old.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Wow.
It all started with him thinking that he didn't have the right nose, wanted to emulate one of his most popular stars, Kundom, who was a singer, and just kept on going back, modifying a little tweak here, a little tweak there, and 3 years later, that's what you see.
The query I have is that what's going to happen in later life? I mean, normally we wait till we get a little older and then we start all the nips and tucks and goodness knows what. But when you start so young, I just worry about the impact that it'll have on their faces. The boy's back on the screen again. Look how different he looks.
I've seen an interview with a lady, I think, who has had 56 procedures done. It can get quite addictive in the sense that once you've done a little bit of a tweak, people start to comment and you get a lot of positive attention, and then you need to go back for more to keep on looking better and to keep up.
I think you raise a good point. It actually does turn into addiction for some people.
Yeah.
And the fact that they keep on doing it even long after that, we might say, you look good already.
Yeah, this particular lady was wanting to look like her idol Barbie.
That's taking it a long way.
It's true.
I won't ask what her age was. Not young.
Right. Well, speaking of things that are fake, we have things, a little bit of extra news that comes to us from Komchatluk newspaper, and it is now about fake bumps. These are available in China. And sooner or later, I think they'll be coming or making their journey here to Thailand. Now, what is going on is that in China, they have a very good reputation for fake goods, which then ends up on the streets of Bangkok. Let's not kid ourselves. And things that you wouldn't expect, like fake eggs and pig's ears and shark's fin. And now they've started to make fake pregnancy bellies. Now, what are they used for, you ask? Well, in China, they're used for preventing you from being laid off by gaining sympathy from employers and co-workers. These can cost you from 1,900 baht to 5,600, and it comes with a lot of perks, state benefits, if you can scam the officials for long enough, and also it helps you to cut queues. It helps you to get seats on public transport. So yeah, they've been getting big.
Don't try.
Well, my question is, if you keep up with this scam long enough, and obviously your belly is artificially growing larger and larger, eventually they're going to expect a baby at some point.
Right, in China they go and adopt a baby.
Oh, it seems they thought of everything.
Yeah, so this is a big scheme that is going on and betraying the public trust. So certainly not a good thing, but yeah, just so that you know.
Well, actually, to be all fair, I do know some people in the U.S., especially when you go to Disney World, they'll maybe go in a wheelchair or put a fake cast on so they can cut ahead in the line. This is a little extreme, though, pretending that you're pregnant, especially if you're married. I hope your husband's in on the scheme, or there'll be some big surprises at the end.
Like nothing. So we can always bring you fun stories here from Bangkok, Thailand, but we'd like to also bring you stories from around the region too. If you've got any stories that you would like to include, any videos that you'd like us to include in the program that would be of interest to all the viewers, we'd be very, very happy to have you send them to us and send the stories too. We'll be able to cover them for you. Now, coming up after the break, we have an interview that I did recently with a lady who's, well, she's Thai, but she's probably more foreign than Thai, or a combination of both. Her name, Mom Luang Laksasupa, who in fact owns the Ban Laksasupa in Hua Hin, a family home converted to a very, very nice boutique-style hotel. Very much involved in education and also supporting foreigners in understanding more about education here, and Thais who want to go to any country in the world to have their children study. So coming up after the break, we'll have her with us, and don't go away.